So without any further ado, I would love to start with our wonderful Auntie Sam. Auntie Sam, Kindergarten 1. Hi, Auntie Sam. I wish I had a drum roll for you, Auntie Sam.
Oh, I can make one.
Make one.
Auntie Sam! All right.
Oh
Hi, everyone. I'm Auntie Sam. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about how you can help your child to transition into kindergarten. Before I start, though, what I do want to say is that kindergarten is curated for your child. So you don't really have to worry too much because the kindergarten environment is made for your child. And so I'm just going to bring up my screen for you.
Can Auntie Sam get to be the
We can
spotlight?
get started. Can I? Okay, so ready, set, go. So there are a few things that you can do to help your child to transition into kindergarten. Now, some children are coming from preschool, but as we know, preschool is a privilege, so not all children come from preschool. And at this time, those children who are in preschool, they're not in school at the moment. So hopefully you have chosen a kindergarten and you're ready to start making the plans to get your child ready for kindergarten. So the first thing you need to do is you just need to talk to your child. And a good way to talk to them about school is to talk about school in a positive way. So you're gonna say, you know, you're gonna go to a big school, it's a different school, and you're gonna see lots of new things. And you want to really talk about it in a positive way. For example, you wouldn't want to say, well, you know, you can't clean up your toys, so I don't think you're ready for big school. That's more of a negative thing to say. You want to more encourage them that it's a positive experience because it doesn't matter if they don't pick up their toys, you're still sending them to kindergarten. So that's also an, you know, that's an empty threat. So you really want to talk about school in a positive way. You also want to talk about the teacher or the teachers that they're going to meet in a positive way. You can say, you know, I heard that the kindergarten teacher is really fun and he or she has lots of exciting things planned for you and they can't wait to meet you. That kind of positive talk is very good for them. And it gives them a little bit of confidence, you know, really? They can't wait to meet me? So that also gives them excitement. And then, of course, you talk about friends in a positive way as well. They are going to meet new children. They may, depending on what school they're going to, they may know some of the children already, but they are going to meet new people. So you can talk about, you know, you're going to see new people. You're going to see new friends that you don't know, but you can always get to know them. You can play with them. You can ask them what their name is, what their favorite color is, and just encourage them that they're going to see new friends and that they can possibly talk to these new friends, play with these new friends. So I think positive talk about the school, about the teacher, about friends is a good place to start. And of course, if you know the name of the school that your child is going to, you know, you can say, this is the school that you're going to, and it's going to be a great experience for you. So we're getting ready. Now we have to get set. You have to involve your child in your preparations. And I mean, we basically do this. You know, if you're getting some school supplies, if they're getting a new lunch pan or a bag, you can involve them in that. Make sure you show them their things. Show them that you're labeling their things so that they know that these are their things. Their uniform, obviously, you know, you do have to try on the uniform. And that helps them to get excited about wearing their uniform and just involve them in getting all the things that they need, you know, because children are very hands-on, so they can relate to the things, the things that they need for school. If you can, I know it's a little bit difficult right now, but you can visit the school. If you want to do a little drive-by, you know, just carry them by, drive them by, show them the sign, the way to get to school, so that they can put something concrete with going to school, especially now because, you know, we do have to stay home. So taking a drive out and showing them the physical space, physical building, that would be helpful. If you can, it depends on how the school decides to do it. If you have the option to meet the teacher, that's also, you know, something to take advantage of for yourself as well, to meet the teacher, and for your child just to see what the teacher looks like, say hello, and just create a positive first impression to get them excited into going to their new school. So we've gotten ready, we're set, and we're getting ready to go. Now, this is a big part. You really have to encourage your child. And I mean, we do this, you know, on a regular basis. We give them lots of encouragement. But I think when they're getting ready for kindergarten, it's important to encourage them just to speak. You know, sometimes we take advantage of, we just kind of want to say things for them or do things for them. So we say, you know, little Johnny, do you want orange juice or grape juice? And they point to the grape juice and you give them the grape juice. You really want to encourage them to speak. So you want them to say, Mommy, I'd like to have the grape juice. And this kind of conversation will help them when they come to kindergarten. They'll feel a little bit more confident about speaking to the teacher and speaking to their friends. So you really want to encourage them to speak and have conversations and use, you know, full sentences so that they get comfortable with expressing what they want, and they'll be comfortable to express that to somebody maybe they've just met. And then I have in bold, independence. We have lots of time over the summer to encourage independence. Kindergarten is really all about giving children an opportunity to be independent. And so it would be helpful to encourage them over the summer to just do things on their own, things around the house, pack up their toys on their own, take out their clothes on their own, you know, take their dishes to the kitchen, just things that they can do at home that you would usually do for them. You know, you might clear the table, you might take out their clothes, you might pack up their toys and books for them. So really encourage them to do those things for themselves, and then they'll feel a sense of pride, and that also increases their confidence and will help with the transition to kindergarten. Encourage getting dressed. I mean, you know, that's a given. Just encourage them to put on their pants, their shirts. Buttons and zippers can be tricky, you know, just encourage them and let them know that, you know, they can get dressed on their own. Also, responsibility for belonging. So when you do come to school, you have things. You know, you have your bag, you have your lunch pan, you have your water bottle, and they need to learn to be responsible for their own things. So at home, you know, I know sometimes, you know, you might have a special cup, a special plate, that's your plate. You can help them to learn responsibility. Maybe they have to wash up their plate and put it away, dry it off, and put it in the cupboard, just to get them used to being responsible for their own things. And this will help when they come to school and they have their things, they know that they have to pick them up when it's time to go home. And they just a sense of knowing what is theirs and that they should care for it will also help them to care for other people's things and the school property. So encourage them to be responsible for their things, getting dressed, being independent, and speaking. And then now you're ready to go. You have all your school supplies and you're ready to go. It's coming down to September and school is about to start. So it's important to get into a routine. What usually happens the first week of school, you know, you're a little bit rushed, there's traffic, you have to wake up earlier than normal, they have to wake up earlier than normal. So it would be good to get them up at the time that they would have to get up to go to school, you know, a couple of days before, you know, get the breakfast ready so that they can eat their breakfast earlier than normal, so that it's not a rush to get to school and they can kind of get into the routine before the actual first day of school. That helps you as well. So you're not as flustered for the first week. And so you're a little bit calmer, you know. Children do feed off of adults' emotions sometimes. So if you're calm and you're into a routine, then it makes the transition a little bit easier. Also, I mean, this is something that parents do. Just reassure them. Reassure them that you're going to drop them off and you're coming back to pick them up. You're going to come back whatever time the school day finishes. I'm coming back at 1 o'clock. Mommy or daddy or grandma will be here to pick you up. You're going to have a great day. Just that reassurance, you know, so that they feel confident about entering into their new classroom. And then drop off. So it really is, you know, you say your goodbyes, you give your hug, your kiss, say hello to the teacher, and drop off and go. Like I said, the environment is curated for them. It's not really for you, it's for them. So it's best that you make sure you say your goodbyes, goodbye hugs, kisses, you take in your first day of school picture, and you go to work and you drop them off and they'll be fine. And then the last thing, I have a little note here is, this is more for the parents, is just to communicate with the school about any concerns that you have beforehand. If you know you see anything over the summer, whether it's socially or academically, and it's concerning you, it's good to just let the school know so that you can find out how they can accommodate you, if they can accommodate, you know, any concerns that you have, or any concerns that maybe if you're coming from a different school, any concerns that were there. It's really good to communicate those things beforehand so that the school is aware and they can prepare for it. And that will help for an easier transition into their new school. And then I think once you've done all of that, you should be ready, set to go.
Thanks, Sam. I love the information that you gave. I want to go back to when you spoke about belongings. I think that was really important, that tip you gave about parents making sure the children are involved in, even if they're not involved in the purchasing, but involved in the children knowing and acknowledging that these items are theirs. Because that is something that does happen where children do not connect to what they have. So they feel, oh, is it water time? And I don't know where my water is because I don't know what my water bottle looks like. You know, things like that
and
really make a big deal.
At the beginning of the new school year, a lot of people do have new items and some of them are the same. And they don't know if that one is theirs, whose is it? So it's important to show them where you've labeled it, that this is where their name is. So if they're not sure, they can turn the bottle around and find their name.
Right.
And yeah, that makes them feel more comfortable.
Right. And I like that because, you know, also when you put your label on or your name on, the children are now excited because, you know, at that egocentric age, they loved ownership. Mine, which is great for us at this age, you know, to have ownership of something. Also, ownership of something can lead to having some control over something that is so brand new to you, especially a child who is now experiencing this transition earlier from preschool, if they were in a preschool, to learning online, to not being able to have that complete final, you know, goodbye with that situation, to transitioning into a big school, which they're really excited for, but excitement comes with anxiety and it gets confused with fear. So it's a great thing to do to make sure that they're involved in all the exciting, fun things. And I like your other point, Sam, with the drop-off. I think that was a great pointer because I think if I could speak on behalf of teachers, a lot of times they can ease the situation, make it better when they have that control of that situation, you know, removing the child, making them be distracted into something else. And especially, Sam, with the new time with COVID.
And see, what that helps with is that you need to give the teacher the opportunity to create a relationship and create that trust with your child. You being there for an extended period of time at drop-off, that's more for you. That's not really for them. That's because you want to see that they're okay before you leave. So that's really for you, but it's not giving the child that sense of trust. Oh, you know, she doesn't trust that I'm okay.
Right, exactly. And I think the great takeaway also was when you said, let your school know or your teacher know if there are any concerns. So concerns sometimes parents feel is like it's looked down upon. You know, my child could be having a concern. I mean, children, as you grow up, there are going to be concerns every single week. It's just what it is. Going to school, having children in that academic career, there are going to be concerns all the time. I think it's best, as you said, to let the school know, let the teacher know of any concerns. I mean, you could put them at ease because it could be something simple, or it is something that we could guide them. And I think we are lucky that we have Rachel in here. Rachel, are you in here? No?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. Rachel's in here, and Rachel is a great support to us as well, right? Because Rachel is also the head of our enrichment department at Reach Academy, and she also has a center that we depend on a lot. It's a great resource that we can utilize. Reach out to Rachel to say, hey, can you give us a professional opinion on the situation? So it's not just our emotional or our secular opinion based on academics. It's based off of theory, whether or not Rachel can guide us and guide you on whether or not you feel that your concerns are something that the school needs to be alerted to, and is it something that the school can or cannot manage?
Right. It's important to get those prerequisites. You know, if you think about when you're starting a new course or doing professional development or training, sometimes you need prerequisites. And this really helps you to make sense of what you're going to be doing or learning. And it's the same for our kids. You know, getting help and support is not about holding back, you know, your child in any way, but rather helping them gain the skills and concepts that are going to help them succeed and feel confident doing it.
Right. And I can't stress that enough. I think Rachel has really helped us, especially in the kindergarten program, to make sure that, because no child is the same, every child is unique. Auntie Sam can attest to that. And the planning stage, which takes place every single week for all of the 20 students that are in the classroom, it is not generic, it is unique. Each child is planned for on an individual basis. And when it is a situation where Auntie Sam is like, hold on, this is not a part of the rhythm that we're seeing, it's something outside of the rhythm, it is showing a red flag, we are able to reach out to persons that have the expertise in that area. So I agree, Sam. Excellent job. Thank you, Auntie Rachel. But excellent job, Sam, about, you know, those are great pointers. Thank you. Anybody has any questions? Anybody in here who's transitioning to kindergarten, or anybody in here that did transition with kindergarten and had fears that you could maybe speak of, that we can, you know, speak about what happened, the transition? Anybody wants to talk about it?
Everybody's
All right. You're shy? Okay. But again, if you have any concerns or any questions.
I will, excuse me, I will, I'm here.
Oh, it's Bianca.
So I won't say that we had trouble, but because we came from a different background and she was not speaking English, it was a huge challenge that we all faced, and especially Sophia, because she had a hard time understanding why the other children are not playing with her and are not talking to her in her own language.
Right.
So
what was the steps you took, you know, because we do have a lot of parents that come from, or families that come from all over the world that transition into kindergarten, and they may have those same fears. How did you get through it?
For sure they do, because Auntie Michelle at that point, she told us that she's talking a lot, but she's talking a lot in our native language. And she came home frustrated, and she was like the terrible twos become the terrible threes and almost the terrible four. So it took a lot of patience for us and a lot of resilience from her side.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. And how long did it take her to start acclimatizing?
I would say like maybe 2 to 3 months, 4 months. Already after 3 months, we could see the change.
Wow, that's really good. That was really quick.
Yes. I think.
Can I ask you a question?
I'm sorry.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Did you have any connection to any local families when you first came that you could, you know, that had children the same age that you could meet up with?
Yes, but none that speak our language. We are not so many here, unfortunately.
Okay.
So for her, it didn't make a huge
English
difference.
speaking.
Romanian.
Yeah,
Right.
but did
No,
you
I
have
mean,
any English?
any local families that spoke English?
At that point, no, we were quite isolated in a complex that didn't really have children.
Mm-hmm.
It was just her and the little baby brother who was really little and not helping a lot.
Right. I'm just thinking that that kind of support, maybe with a family who speaks English with young children, to have, you know, a little, I mean, not a formal play date, but maybe just on the playground together, so that children who speak a different language can see other children who are not speaking their language outside of school, so that they don't associate that kind of thing just with school.
That is true, yes. Unfortunately, no, she didn't have that. But the school and I think the children in the class helped a lot. Because I saw little changes every day, and she came home talking a lot about playing. So she did a lot of learning through play.
Of course. I assume you went to building blocks.
You assume correctly, yes.
Yeah, but most preschools, I must give it, most preschools do a really good job with learning through play. And to be honest with you, I think it doesn't stop. Children do it, they do their best learning when they are doing. So as they get older, they don't like to call it play, but it's definitely play. All right, so Auntie Sam, thank you so much. And Bianca, thank you so much. We're going to transition into Auntie Nicky, who I'm sure is excited to be here. Auntie Sam, could you do that transition for me into Auntie Nicky? Can you put a spotlight on Auntie Nicky? Hi, Auntie Nicky.
Hi, everyone. Auntie Sam, I was thinking, where were you when I started kindergarten? Okay, I think it would have made such a difference with my whole transition and also the whole enjoyment of school. So I concur with Auntie Vanny that, you know, the steps that you have put in place really does make a difference. So
for sure, I agree.
That's it all. So
hi,
you guys.
Hi, Auntie Nicky.
Before we start, as Auntie Vanny said, this is a new journey for me. So it was deemed in the best interest of this presentation that I rely on the support of Auntie Sam to do my
You're moving around.
No problem.
I can just focus. Okay, so you know, you guys will hear me say, "Oh, Auntie Sam, can you please move on?" Thank you, Auntie Sam. You know, and as I said, you know, it's just in the best interest for this presentation to flow. Okay.
All right, Auntie Nicky. So Auntie Nicky is going to speak about the transitioning that all of our students have been going through, all of our kids, whether students or children just at home. It's been a lot. COVID has been a lot. It's still going to be a lot. Transitioning into school next year, Auntie Nicky will be there even more to support our students, because it hasn't been released yet, but our protocols will be released, and it is very different from what they are used to. And we are going to rely heavily on our support team with social emotional support for our students, because they're going to need it. So we are going to transition to Auntie Nicky.
Okay, guys, thank you, Auntie Vanny. So I want us to just go ahead and just watch this video. And I want you to be aware of maybe the feelings that you might be experiencing, you know, as the video continues on. All right, thank you, Auntie Sam. Hit it.
Whoa, that's not good.
Oh, I don't need this. I'm already late.
Somebody will come. Anybody out there?
Do you have a phone?
No. Sorry. Somebody! Hello? There are two people stuck on an escalator and we need help. Now, would somebody please do something?
Help!
I don't believe this. You gotta be kidding me.
I'm gonna cry.
Well, there's not enough left to do, is it?
Hello? Hey, don't worry about it. I'll fix it in a second.
He said he could fix it. All right. All right. That's more like it. He says he can fix it.
Walking down the sidewalk, kicking my feet as I'm moving to the music. Step to the beat. I woke up today, canceled all my plans, and I stepped right outside with my guitar in my hands, and the notes became loud as the sound caressed the air, and I kicked it up a notch as I strolled without a care, 'cause I'm going down the road to a brand new place, and I'll get there with.
All right, guys, you know, as we watch this video, as the brain receives it, maybe it appears, you know, to be really ludicrous, like, you know, these people are clearly not thinking. However, as we experience the feelings, it feels almost hopeless and helpless. And I'm sure there's a lot of us who are aware of having these feelings. But, you know, we think about our kids. And when they meet up on hurdles, this is the first place that they go to, that feeling of helplessness and hopelessness. So I'm going to send Sam to move on to the next slide. And this, guys, is what is going to help us. Grit. All right. Okay, Sam, can you move to the next one? Okay, so, you know, when we ask ourselves what is grit, and grit is actually one of those newer words. It's like a newer buzzword over the last couple of years that we've been, you know, hearing circulating. But the reality is, what it really means is the way in which we accomplish our goal. All right, can we move to the next one, Auntie Sam? Okay, so let's think about the things that we need to accomplish our goal. Passion, motivation, and determination. And, you know, by itself, you think that, oh, I know that, you know, that's easy. That's a familiar thing. But once we put it together, it makes us further ahead to achieve these goals. And as I said, that buzzword comes into play. This is what we call grit. We talk about passion. With passion, we want to encourage our kids to explore things that they like. And it's really important that it's the things that they like, because we want them to choose that activity. If we go ahead and choose the activity for them, it makes it that much harder for them to stick to it, because as they venture with onto this new activity, they're going to experience some frustration. And this is what we want them to do, to experience the frustration so they can learn to process it and work through it. And also, they recognize that they need the effort. They need to be able to put that effort in to bring about the success. And with that being, we look on the motivation and we look on the determination. And you know what, guys? The best part about this is research says that grit encourages us to be more successful than high IQs, than intelligence, than skills, and even grades. And the best part about it is teachable. So, you know, back in the days, you know, everybody thought you had to have these high grades and you had to have this IQ, you know, to be one of those top mentors. You know, we realize what we need to do is teach our kids grit. Okay. All right, Auntie Sam. Can you move to the next one too? Okay. And then, guys, I think what is really important to recognize that with everything that has been going on right now, our kids have been exposed and our kids have been exhibiting grit because, you know, here it is, this life-changing experience. Who would have ever thought that that the country would be locked down, the world would be locked down, you know, they're not able to see their friends, social distancing, they have their fears, they have their anxieties. Previous to this, screen time was supposed to be a fun time. Now they have to sit every day and from certain hour to another to sit and do work. So what we have done also is taken away some of that fun time using the screen. So clearly, our kids are resilient and they have been experiencing and exhibiting the screen. So, but it's not wrong with trying to fine tune it. And especially as we return to school in September, the new norms are going to feel abnormal for a while. Everything is going to be changed, and of course, it's all in the name of safety. But some kids will be much easier. And first of all, I know we're talking about kids, but I also want us as adults too to you know, receive this, because I think on a whole, a lot of us might have difficulty with the new adjustments. And that's why we're going to work on grit, because it's only grit that's going to help us through. So one of the key things is to allow our kids to try. You know, think about it. When they're younger, they want to do something, maybe we might be a little bit cautious, not quite sure, and we do it for them. That's not the message we want to send to them. We want them to allow to try. And especially when they fail, we want to support them when they fail, because it's okay to fail. That is how we learn. And then we're encouraged to do it again. And this way we're teaching them to embrace challenges. Okay, thank you, Auntie Sam. Can you switch? Okay, guys, so let's take a little moment to talk about how can I teach my child grit. / child, husband, wife, any other adult in our lives. Like
teacher.
Okay, so a lot of the activities are simple. I'm familiar with this one called 3 Stars and a Witch. What we do, we ask the individual to identify 3 stars. That's 3 things that they feel really strong and accomplished in. Okay, maybe it might be I'm good at playing tennis. I'm good at doing math. I'm good at playing football. And then the wish is where what would we want to improve on, what we want to learn. So the wish might be horseback riding. So, you know, we identify this with the help of the kids. Remember, this is all about the kids. So we ask them to identify it and put it on a board. And then this is something that you work with them. We also can create a vision board as a family. And you have your different pictures of the hopes and the dreams. We sit down as a family, discuss what is it that we need to do, what is it that we want, how we're going to get there. Same thing with a family bucket list. No, I think I'll be a little bit hesitant to my family bucket list. So I would encourage you guys to choose your own thing. Don't have the kids choose for you, okay? Choose your own goal that you want to work on. And then also, we're also teaching each other to go ahead and persevere. There's another game called Show Me the Hard Part. And I think this is particularly good because when we're feeling, especially our kids, when they're feeling frustrated, they're feeling hopeless and helpless, let's take a moment and say, all right, guys, show me the hard part. What is it making, what's making it so difficult? And then we help them to break it down. And then through this, you know, we teach them problem solving. I think, Auntie, we go to the, okay, so we go to the next one. All right. And also, guys, if I could reiterate, a lot of times we want to do it for them, okay? A lot of times we see them fail and want to do it for them for more reasons than one. Maybe we're too busy, you know, we have a full schedule of work. We don't have time to sit. We don't have the patience because we're feeling so overwhelmed. And then we just maybe not be able to manage the meltdowns. And then, of course, we don't want our kids to be in a negative space. However, back to the supporting of their failure and encourage them to try and do it again. As I said, you know, just to reiterate, this is teaching them about the adversary and working through it. All right, so I found this list, how to teach problem solving to children. And as I said, it should be children, husband, wives, brothers, sisters, teachers, whoever else, because we all can benefit from it. And what this does is simplify, breaks it down for us, because we all know how overwhelming it feels when we're faced with a problem. I mean, look at the escalator guys. Clearly, they didn't learn great. So, you know, our kids were going to be ahead of that, right? Step one is figure out how they're feeling. Have them identify how they're feeling. Have them name their emotions. Validate them. Let them know it's okay. Encourage them to problem solve it. Okay. What's the problem? Guide your child to formulate the problem. All right, so let's break down the problem, guys. You know, as I said, as a whole, it feels overwhelming. It's good to always reframe for them, repeat what they're saying. So you're saying blah, blah, blah. You know, let them know that you are hearing their frustration, and you're there to assist them. Not to do it for them, but to assist them, okay? What are the solutions? You know, a lot of times we get stuck in the problems. We haven't reached the solutions as yet if we're unable to cross over. So let's help them to look at the solutions, encourage them to explore. A lot of times there are much more solutions out there, but because we're feeling blocked, we're feeling stuck, we're unable to move over. Okay. What would happen if, all right, brainstorm with them. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but give them that opportunity to allow their mind to be open and search for solutions, okay? And which one will I try? So you're also giving them an opportunity to recognize that a lot of times there's several solutions to one problem. You're giving them that, you're empowering them to go ahead and try it. And as I said, so it goes back to encouraging them, supporting them, encouraging them and supporting them. Okay, Auntie, and can you switch to the next one? Okay, so I found this little thing, guys, you know, maybe you could, you know, make up your own. As I said, when we break it down, you know, we simplify it, it doesn't feel as overwhelming. So I help your kids to identify the problem, different ways that can solve the problems. And then think about what would happen for each, you know, allow them to be able to sound it out and figure out what is happening, explore it. Okay, and then we go ahead and this just says color, so acknowledge it. So I guess the bottom line is it is not as bad as it looks, okay? It is not as overwhelming. This is not taken away from them feeling that way. So I want us to also always remember that the feelings are very valid, okay? Acknowledge those feelings, validate those feelings, and then help them to sort it out. And this is where the behavior comes in. And so it's good to, you know, have a plan. Helps them to problem solve, as I said. I think that's, I don't know if I have another one. Do I have another one, Auntie Anne? Okay, no, not yet. All right, guys, I wanted to tell you, you know, it's really important. We're asking our kids to do a lot of stuff. You know, we have asked them to do a lot of stuff. We have placed a lot of expectations on them. We're holding them accountable for a lot of stuff. But then I was thinking about it when I was preparing for this. I was saying, we're asking them to do a lot of these things, but what are we actually doing? You know, are we modeling the behavior that we want? Are we modeling how we want them to feel? So at the end of the day, Auntie Vanny and Auntie Jordan and Auntie Kana can put all of this stuff together. But at the end of the day, it really starts with us as the parents or the caretakers, you know, the positive people in the kids' lives. So I want us to remember that we need to model the behavior that we want. We need to model the ability for them to work through their stuff. And I think that is it. So I came across this video and I wanted to leave you with it because I think it resonates in what we're trying to, or what we're teaching our kids. And it's a really important fact. Before I do go, I want you guys to know that Reach many years started teaching the power of yet. I don't understand it yet. I'm not getting it yet. So from before COVID, we've been teaching our kids positive mindset, which goes in tandem with grit. We don't know it yet. I didn't think I would be doing Zoom. I wasn't doing it yet.
Yet you are.
Here I am now. Okay. So I wanted to share this video, and as I said, you know, I think it resonates with a lot of the stuff that Reach as a whole wants to partake and assist your kids in returning. Okay, thank you, Auntie Sam. Guys, I hope you're able to get some meaning out of it as I did. So we have the summer, we have a few months left before we go back in September. We recognize that, you know, there is going to be difficulty in the new protocols as far as adjustment, but I think that we have we have a jump start and we start working with our kids or continue to work with our kids, because as I said, they've already started. I mean, for them to get to this point, and, you know, being able to manage and maintain, you know, it's a big deal. So let's go ahead and encourage it, reiterate the grit, help them to experience the frustration as well, and in an attempt to have them work it through and find success. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie Nicky. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. I think the great takeaway from this all is that without us knowing it, or without all the parents and everybody realizing it, COVID really was horrible in certain ways, but it also gave each one of us the gift as parents to show our children what the power of grit really is. Because whether you liked it or not, everybody joined on Zoom. Everybody made the best of it. Everybody encouraged their child. And when we had the lows, there were lows. Nothing is perfect. Absolutely nothing is perfect. And we don't plan for perfect. But what it showed was that the parents really were the soundboards and the support for our students going through this transition, and they really went through it. They did it. So they're already one step ahead of the game.
Exactly. And remember, as you said, Auntie Vine, we're not asking for perfection, you know. We're
absolutely not.
People to work it through, explore, allow the frustration, and accomplish the goal, you know.
Correct. Well, I think you were fantastic today, Auntie Nicky. You showed us some grit today too, and we're very grateful to you. Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. Does anyone have any questions for Auntie
where
Nicky?
were you when I was in high school?
Where was Auntie Nicky when I was just coming back home? All my transitions in life.
Is that we're all here to support each other, and that's what, you know, the parents know. I'm sure that they do recognize by now that, you know, reach. You know, yeah, it's really nice. You know, the aesthetics are good, but it's more than, because I have to say that, you know, the Reach team really jumped around because nobody knew this was going to happen. When I started hearing about it, I was like, oh, that's so far away. That's in America. That's in Europe. That's in China. And then we were at school one day from Mantivani on the 12th. We did guidance. I did guidance. And then we get a call, there's no school. And then you did,
and it's funny, you did a wonderful guidance session teaching the kids about the transitioning and the power of, you know, grit and dealing with it and and you know, honestly, I think our students were very lucky where they hear, you know, don't get me wrong, children hear Auntie Nicky all the time and they see you, and Auntie Nicky is rainbows and sunshine and unicorns, and then they were in this situation, and then now they were like, oh wow, I can actually apply all of those tools that Auntie Nicky gave me. And they're reaching out to, you know, you have been a really great support throughout the situation, because you were also their soundboard to talk about situations where it was not to do with only school, but, you know, their own lives, because now they're consumed in the house with mommy and daddy and brother and sister all the time. Right. And they needed that outlet. Right. Do any of the parents have questions for Auntie Nicky? Does anybody have any comments, wants to say anything?
I think Charlene has her hand up. Mm-hmm.
Yes, thanks, Auntie Sam. Hi, Auntie Nicky. Hi, everybody. I'm just wondering if you have any advice for us parents about how to engage the children regarding the new normal and that transition. I mean, basically everything that you've been talking about, I really feel these are great ideas, and but I don't know, sometimes I feel like I tried to show the girls a video about, you know, children going back to school in China. And I thought it was I was coming from the perspective of, okay, let's get ready. Let's talk about it. Let's do that work like you're suggesting with the activities. And they started bawling down the place. And I really did not think they would have that reaction. I was extremely surprised. But it made me think, okay, maybe this is not the right approach to getting ready for. And I even said, you know, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen at Reach. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen in Jamaica. I'm just saying these are some ideas. These are some of the things we might have to do. You know, what do you think about it? And they had a quite a negative reaction. So just any advice would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, but Charlene, kudos to you. You did start the work. You started the work. You're ahead of a lot of us because in you introducing it allowed them to experience it. You know, and as we said before, a lot of the times we want to be there to protect them, keep them out of that negative space. But it is frightening. The unknown. You know, I mean, you know, I hear the kids talking about, oh, we kind of hug each other, we kind of sit with each other. These are real tangible stuff that they're missing. So it is a loss. So I think that you did the right thing. And what that is dialogue. You know, although it was overwhelming for you as a parent, you went ahead and you did the introduction. I guess maybe, you know, it's like when you go to the doctor and you're going to have some procedure, and in the prep work, you know, you have blood work and you do all of that stuff and you lead up. So what you are doing is leading them up to it. And because you have started before, you have more time to address that anxiety that they're feeling, because it's for real. The anxiety is real.
Yes, I agree, Auntie Nicky. And to speak on Reach behalf, on behalf of what we're going to do, is that, again, we are very cognizant of the fact that children we're not even mentioning to them yet what the protocols are, and we're not mentioning it to the parents and to our population yet, because it's something that we are very aware of how kids will be able to internalize it and be able to actually see it, you know. And so what we're doing is that we are going to create videos of the walkthrough of them seeing the situation, because it's bigger in their head, and when they actually see it in their environment with somebody they know, walking through it, seeing the protocols, you know, they can relate to the person doing it, then it eases some of their fears beforehand. And that will be done way before school even starts, because we want to get that dialogue going. We want them to see, because also protocols are going to change rapidly, and right now they're at the height. So there's 160 protocols that they want to put in place right now. Later on, as you go down, you know, it was going to lessen. So what we want to do is create a situation where they can see what the protocols are now, what's expected of them, and is it as bad? Maybe not, because now they can see their schools, see what's happening. You know, everything is going to be okay. And what they experience now with online learning, I think you can just always relate back to that. You know, it was scary, the unknown, that transition of not knowing what's going to happen, and it worked out, and you got to have opportunities to see your friends, and you got to drive by school and see your teachers, and you got these opportunities. So I think Auntie Nicky is completely correct that you started the work, but also on our end, Auntie Nicky has started the work with us too, to make sure that we are prepared with the social emotional part of returning back to the new norm.
And then, thank you, Auntie Vanny. And then, Charlene, you know, if you could refer back to I can't see you guys anymore, but there's that screen that have the plans, like how to, a problem solving plan. You know, use that as maybe a base
right.
Where let's break down the problems, you know, show me the hard part. And just simplify it for them, because it really does feel overwhelming. You know, it's just this whole big amoeba kind of thing. So it is overwhelming. And as I said, you know, recognize the grief. It is a loss. It's been a loss for them. That in March and moving up, a loss of a routine, loss of seeing people, of seeing their friends, a big loss of hugging. When Auntie Vanny and Auntie Jody asked me to start doing this thing, and if I told you, because I also have difficulty, I feel like I can't connect with my kids, right? And then I'm all the way up into the screen, and my kids will say, "Mom, you don't have to be so far up in the screen." But that was the way I was feeling, like I needed to, like I could connect to my kids at Reach. So, you know, you just want to be aware. As I said, validate how they're feeling, and just help them to work it through, as well as yourself. You do it as a family thing, and that's when I was talking about, you know, the family bucket list.
Right, right.
Your job, might have different protocols as well. You know, everybody in the family, the protocols are different. Use that bucket list, that family bucket list. You know, if you can identify the different protocols, how you're going to manage your protocols.
Great, thank you, ladies.
Oh, and then one more thing, the vision board. Vision board is, I find, is really good to Charlene, you know, in helping them to map out stuff, how stuff is going to look, what is it that they want to happen, you know, how they're going to go ahead and problem solve. Okay.
Auntie Nicky, regarding your vision board, do you have a suggestion? You know, we can put a whole lot of things. You suggest any amount of things to go on the board, or are we limiting what we're envisioning? What is there guidelines, or is it open?
No, I think it's open because it's all dependent on the kid. It is their vision board. Okay. We're just facilitating it. And, you know, I think what it does, it gives them that opportunity to explore, but how are you going to get to that point? How are you going to meet that goal? So I guess it depends on your kid too, you know, how much they're able to manage. Some kids might only want 1 or 2 things. Some kids might want 5 or 6. And then you also use that as an opportunity to say, okay, guys, you know, 5 and 6 is going to take this particular time. Do you want to dial back? Do you want to minimize it? Or do you want to work on each one separately? Because so
I guess the goal is to continue to remember that it is their board, their vision, and you allowing them to go ahead and do what you want, what they would like, but you would facilitate help navigate through the situation.
Exactly, and for them to experience the frustration, because in them experiencing the frustration, you need to put that effort in to reach that goal. You know,
correct.
So they're gonna feel frustrated. How is it that what can we do to help you to manage your frustration and reach to your goal?
Okay. Sound advice. Thank you so much, Auntie Nicky. That was fantastic. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay. Thank you so much, Nikki Day, our amazing guidance counselor at Reach Academy. We love you very much. Thank you so much for being a part of our wonderful curated show about transitioning on. And I'm sure everyone is eager to hear from the high school extraordinaire, Madame Castriota, who is, you know, I'm sure everybody is dying for your number, because next week it is the PEP results come out and children will be placed in high schools. And unfortunately this year, it is not going to be a true reflection of their academic abilities, whether good or bad. It is what it is. And so the Ministry of Education will be placing students in a high school based on their grade 4 numeracy and literacy, their grade 5 performance task, and their grade 6 ability test. So as you can hear, all of that, it's a hodgepodge of a lot of different things that they're going to make into one. So, Ms. Castriota, Auntie Jody's mommy, I welcome you to the floor. Auntie Sam, can you make her our spotlight?
Putting on my video. Oops. Can you see me? Or do you have my screen to share? You have my stuff to share?
I thought you could share it, Mom.
I can't. I was all right. Just hold
I'm gonna make
host.
Your daughter told us that you were up in technology.
The host has disabled participant sharing.
No, I'm gonna make you the co-host now.
All right.
Hold on.
That's great for you, Auntie.
I know, but trust me. Miss Castriota, Madame, what should we call you?
But I answer to many names.
Well, which one do you answer most to? And I can't call you mommy.
No. You can call me Madame. Madame is fine.
Madame, okay,
That's
Madame.
What they call. I've never lost that name since. Once you're a French teacher, you're Madame.
I know. Okay, Madame.
Okay,
I love it. Well, you can tell us. I mean, it's really an honor to have you here, because honestly, what happens, you know, is that parents get caught up in the transition of preschool to kindergarten. They go through the years of elementary or primary school, and they get shocked when it gets to 4th grade. They start, panicking, and when they get to 6th grade, they are all worried about the next step to transition into high school. And this is a great opportunity for everyone to have you here, for you to give us some insight.
Okay. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. I hope that what I give you today will give you some valuable information, some valuable insights into what is next for the child who is going into high school. I want to congratulate you on the makeup of the program. It's perfect that I'm going last, because a lot of what I will say actually is underpinned by what Auntie Nicky has said, as well as Sam. Believe it or not, the principles guiding what parents need to be looking for really start as early as preschool. They have to morph, but they never leave the basic, the essential quality that what you're asking for in preschool. So I'm going to, can I move my right? All right, so I'm going to look at 5 things very briefly. Change in environment. Is everybody hearing me?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, fine.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, the elephant in the room, a change in structure. And we want to look at what the goals of high school are, because they start from the very beginning. And of course, the fact that it's a transition for all. Now, the change in environment, these are the 3 words I chose. It's new, and newness always brings anxiety. We have the COVID is a new situation. A preschool child at home going into school is a new situation. But there is an acute anxiety, I think, that is married with the excitement of going to a new school, the excitement of going to a big school, of seeing themselves as growing up. There's an acute anxiety associated with it, because the environment for most of the high schools, I would say 90% of the high schools, are large environments. They are diverse environments. In fact, when a child goes to high school, it's their first slice of the real world. And it's also their first slice of the real world, just one step more removed from their parents, because you do not have that kind of, you have relationships with teachers, etc., but the largeness of the school makes for a bit of a distance, a bit more formality, which you do not have in prep and primary school. The fact that you have 13 teachers, not 1 teacher. The fact that you're now one of 1,200, 1,000, 1,700 in some cases, that's the total school population. The fact that these children are coming from grade 6, which is the top of the school, and now they're grade 7, the bottom of the school. So, of course, I don't want to frighten the parents now, but these are all realities. One more reality I just want, before I look at what you can do, how you are going to respond as parents, is the fact that I spoke about the high school environment being a little bit more formal. That is because we're not dealing with 100, 200, 300, 500 kids. Most of the high schools are dealing with upwards of 1,000. Rules have to be in place, because what you can't do for one, you can't do for, what you can't do for all, rather, you can't do for one. And one of the things that I have found is that when children come into high school, the parents still have an expectation that they're, you know, I don't want to, that things can be done for their child that is not the norm within the school setting. Some things can be done. And we always make accommodation for difference in learning styles, difference in the capacity to adjust emotionally. But we have to have a structure in place that keeps order. Otherwise, it will be chaotic. So the sheer numbers are part of what we're dealing with. The diversity, because dealing with children, a group of children who come from all walks of life. So different value systems, different expectations, different ways of addressing each other with no offense intended. And that is why I say it is the child's first slice of real life. Now, how is a parent to respond to that? You have to prepare them. But I don't want a big dramatic preparation, talking to the child every day about how different high school is going to be. No. You have to speak, as Samantha said, in a positive way. Going into a new school, wow, what was the size of your class in prep or primary school? You're now going to be looking at 35, 40 children in your class. You're going to be meeting new people. I wouldn't do too much preparation apart from, should say, some cosmetic preparation. The absolute critical thing is to have your ears open when the child has started school, because that is where you are going to be able to respond, help to the experiences that your child has had on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to move now to the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is it's something nobody likes to talk about, but it's the reality of this transition. So Vanessa spoke to the factors that are making this elephant in the room even more scary. The fact that the selection process has been, what should I say, derailed by COVID. Therefore, parents are all skittish. What happened in grade 5? My child did okay, but we were looking and she was moving ahead and we knew she was going to excel in grade 6. All of a sudden, there's no grade 6 exam. So the question is, what happens if my child goes to the school or is placed in the school that I didn't have at the top of the list? Once again, I think Nicky spoke about some modeling. We have to speak positively. I am sure when you were about the schools, I'm sure when you were doing your choices, the parents, you must have done some investigation into the schools. That's why you put the schools there. So you have to help your child, first of all, to know that she didn't fail because she didn't get the top school that she had on her list. That is so important. I mean, I really believe that this GSAT, common entrance, PEP, call it what you will, it is a travesty on our children because it deals a blow to their self-esteem. If they had their top school as X and they got A, which was number 2, they still have a sense of not having done well enough. And we also have, Samantha spoke about speaking positively. We have a lot of adults who speak without thinking around children. We had the Victorian era where children were banished from the room. They did not get into adult conversation. Now we have children constantly in adult circles and adults speaking in careless ways. And we seem to forget as adults that children hear very well. They absorb a lot of what we say. So we have to be careful. We have to manage this process of the child moving from grade 6 into whichever grade 7. And we are responsible as the adult for making that child move towards grade 7, feeling confident as they can feel as a little 12-year-old, might be on this or the adults on the escalator. But building in them a foundation that will allow them to move forward with strength and in positivity. So whatever disappointments parents might have, they cannot be revealed to the child. And you have to find a way to, as Samantha said, speak positively about what's going to happen next. I'm going to tell you, even when children are transferred, they live with a deep-seated feeling in their hearts that I didn't do well enough. I had an opportunity to go to this school, not because I earned it. And that is why I say that the GSAT, change the name and call it what you will, until all schools in Jamaica have a particular standard of labs, computer lab, educators, even the physical plant. When a child does not, is not placed where they wanted to go, there is always this feeling in their heart. So we have to be very, very careful. All right, I'm trying to, so that's the elephant in the room. Now, it's a new environment. Samantha spoke about the fact that kindergarten is made for the child. Yes. High school is a new environment, and I'm not sure I, as an educator of years, would say that we have not quite yet made high school the place where children, where the child should be the center, and we are getting there, and that is the philosophy of many schools. But in terms of just being able to, what should I say, to cater to the child's comfort level, so that moving from grade 6 to grade 7 is basically seamless. We don't reach there yet. The child is moving from 1 teacher to 13 teachers. Child is moving from 5, 6 subjects to 13 or 14 subjects. Child is moving from 8 to maybe 1:30, from now to 7:45 to 3 o'clock. And of course, here are the rules that I spoke about, which are necessary because of just the size of the cohorts that you are dealing with. So again, I'm not saying anything new. The child, the parent, you have to keep close to the child. You have to form relationships with the teachers. And I do find that parents, I have been a parent, I know what it is like. Parents, when something happens at school with a child, you cannot put up a wall between you and the teacher. No matter how you have to approach it, grit your teeth and try and find, because most times there's a fundamental misunderstanding going on. And that, a lot of the time, interferes with the relationships between the teacher and the parents. So I as a parent, form relationships with the teachers that your child has. Know their names. The amount of parents that come in to see, they don't even know their phone to make a complaint about something. They can't tell me the name of the teacher. So we have to form relationships with our teachers. We have to keep our ears to the ground in terms of the child's day. The child might not come and tell you exactly what happened, A, B, C, but listen out. Is there a red flag going up? You know, we had one grade 7 who would come to school and don't want to leave the car. That's where it reached with one grade 7 child. So that must have started, that child must have been showing some anxiety prior to that. So you have to keep your ears to the ground. Now, I know I'm sounding very scary, but it really is not. Well, I shouldn't put it that way. Let me put it the other way. The school really does put as many protocols in place as to ease the students' transition into grade 7. Unfortunately, COVID has kicked out one. Summer school. Summer school is very important, not for academic purposes, but for the child, just like how should buy the lunch pan in, the parents buy the lunch pan in kindergarten, but for the child to become familiar with the school. So when they step in September morning, they are not dealing with the newness of the campus, the newness of their teachers, and the newness of the cohort that they have been, they have an opportunity to spend 2 weeks. We would have run a 2-week summer school, and the children are just there from 8 to 11:30, and they're really there to mix. They do a little academics, they do some swimming, they do some cooking, they do some IT, and the classes are like half hour long. It's really just to give them a feel of what our school is about. But of course, COVID is an added factor that is going to make what is new absolutely new. So it is the relationships that you form with the teachers and the continued relationship that you build with the child, listening, not talking, listening. I have met with parents and they're talking the whole time, the child's silent there, and it's the child that have the problem. Listening to what happens to that child on a day-to-day basis. All right, the goals of high school are academic. I don't know why I put that one there first, because I am catering to that traditional perspective when I do that, and I want to move away from that traditional perspective. Social, that is more important than academic. We're trying to turn out, our mission statements all revolve around, people who will be good citizens. So socially, we are developing, we have a role as a school to develop the child socially. Personal really meant they're emotional. So those are the goals of high school, to turn out emotionally balanced children, children who can navigate the social fabric with understanding, insight, and ease, and academic. Children who have achieved, who have acquired the cognitive skills, the academic achievements to move forward academically. So parents, what I say to parents is, please bear in mind the fact that these are the 3 goals. You need to speak with your children about, maybe I have to do some research, about how can I help the child have a good EQ, emotional quotient, be sensitive to others without being a pushover, be aware that difference does not mean better than or less than. That's all it means, is difference. Help my child to be emotionally balanced. How do I let her know that it's not the end of the world if she has a disagreement with her friend, that that's part and parcel of it, and that it is just a road you navigate towards reconciliation, problem solving, admitting that, or I should say, acknowledging that somebody can have another point of view that is not your point of view, and it doesn't make them an enemy or wrong. We, the parents, must partner with the school in that part of the development of the child. And those are the issues where I have found that children suffer greatest in the transition. The relationships with the new friends and the old friends, navigating those relationships, the understanding the society that they live in as a whole, as a very varied and diverse place, and the fact that value must be put on each person as a human being. Of course, not to the exclusion of their academic achievement, but parents, especially when children, academic achievement is a journey. It's not a collection of achievements. So there are times when the child will do well, and there are times when the child might take a little longer to do well in that area. There are times when that might not be the child's area at all. But part of learning the grit and part of the development, emotional and development of character, is doing your best in those areas where you are finding it difficult. So I say that to parents because I have seen very often when children, the expectation is that the child must do well every single time. That's not learning. The academic journey is a journey of ups and downs. For a child, and the ultimate goal is at the end of each year, and finally at the end of the 5 or 7 year program. So during the year, there'll be ups and downs. And rather than be critical of a child's achievement, or the child feels that they will only get the parents' approval if they score 100 or they're in the top 10 or top 5%. And the child needs to know that you are supporting them and you are there to help them. And if they failed or they didn't do so well, and this is something that I heard Auntie Nicky saying, that it's about going again and seeing how you can fill those gaps. So everything here is relational based. The relationships with the teachers, the relationship with the child. And so those are areas of that should have greatest focus. And my final slide says it's a transition for all. It's not just the children transitioning, you know, the parents transitioning as well. And we, the school, are there to help the transition. So my encouragement to parents is, If you are, when I say you're having challenges, you might be unhappy with things the school, you perceive the school has, you know, arrangements the school makes or how they, certain ways of operating they have. Come in and have a conversation. Come have a conversation with the teacher, have a conversation with the grade supervisor, have a conversation with the head of department. They have guidance counselors. It's not just about, as so then I'm saying if you have a problem with this, it's not about you having a problem and telling us, boy, there's a problem, so the child might be. If you have a problem with the school, you must come in and speak to us. Don't say and talk in the other parents and everybody in the car park huffing and puffing and WhatsApp and Facebook. And because if we don't solve the problem, who suffers is the school. And the school is not a building, you know. The school is the cohort of children that are there with the teachers, and your child is one of them at that point in time. So that's my take. I hope that I've given you some insight into transitioning. I hope I've given you a path that you can pursue as your child goes forward. And again, I want to congratulate Reach for this and just how they set it up. I don't know if it was deliberate.
It was.
Sure it was. And you can just see how well everything dovetailed from Samantha through to Nikki through to myself.
Well, so, you were amazing. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm.
I forgot to say how much grit. I have it noted. I was making notes. Grit is essential in all of this. Apart from the relationships, grit is absolutely essential. And the last thing I'm going to say is for people of my age. I heard Samantha say it too, and she's younger than me. Where were you when I was at high school? Emotional and social goals were not things that were spoken of before probably the 80s, and they weren't taken seriously till, I don't know, am I right, Nikki, late 80s, maybe 90s? Certainly not in Jamaica. And as Nikki already said, people with high IQs that achieve fantastic academic qualifications are not always the most successful people. Successful people always have healthy social outlooks and more or less balanced emotionally. They might go off the deep end now and then, but they're more or less balanced emotionally. And it is just amazing that in education, traditional education, we're doing better than we were, but we need to keep those two up front and center along with the academic development of the child. Okay, so that's it for me.
You're right. Thank you so much. I think you're right. You know, the times have changed a lot and we are tapping into more of what the child is thinking and understanding that when they have a clear mind and they are on an emotionally stable level, that they're able to do more. And I also believe that our students are going to be able, as time goes along, because it's going to be a transition, because it's not just what we teach, but how we parent. And as the parenting moves along and the pendulum switches from being from one extreme to the next and goes to a balance, we'll realize that it's not just about who is the smartest or who is the best at the situation. It is who has the best resilience in the situation, who can navigate through a situation and bounce back and find joy in the end with it. So I think you're right when you speak about the transition, and I heard the same. It's funny, I was expecting to hear a completely higher level. You know, I was expecting to think, oh, this is going to be so much more intense, but really and truly, it's the same steps that we just take over and over again, and we just perfect them as we move along throughout our academic journey. And you're right. I think our parents, once we become, or the parents become more accepting that their children are resilient and believe in them and understand that they too have to fail at the situation in order for them to get better at making better choices. Because the moment we as parents take on the decision making, we as a parent get better, not the child.
Right.
Well, you are amazing. Thank you so much. I want to know if anybody has any questions. Anyone has anything to say to Madame?
Madame needs to stop sharing first, and then we can.
I'm trying to. Maybe I don't know if Samantha can stop me sharing. I pause the share. Oh, I see the red button. All right, gotcha.
There you go.
You did it. Okay, so if we don't have any questions, I want to say though that we are very lucky to have this situation, and that we're very lucky to be able to have this session recorded, because there are a lot of pertinent questions and information that is in here that a lot of parents are thinking that they want to ask, but sometimes afraid to ask because whether or not they think it's correct. And I'm happy that we had this information time, this time to share the wealth of knowledge that each person comes with. I really am. Oh, Charlene says, great presentation, Madame.
Yes, thanks, Charlene.
But
my
thanks.
Student.
Oh,
yes,
see?
yes. My French student, yes.
Lucky her. I did not take French.
No, you did Spanish, I remember.
I did Spanish, yes. I'm still not the best at it. I guess I didn't have enough grit when it came on to that part. But evolution is happening, and we're getting better at it. And parents are understanding that we're being more prepared, and that COVID has proved that turning into this new revolutionary industry, the fourth industry revolution. The revolution is coming about, that our students have to be more equipped with technology, have to be more equipped with critical thinking and reasoning, and being able to bounce back and being able to figure out problems on their own, and also collaborate, which is the buzzword now, and everyone thinks they're doing it, but it's honestly very difficult for children to understand the true meaning of collaboration. And I think that's another great skill that they learn when they go into high school, because you have no choice, you know.
And they have to collaborate with, all right, you have muted yourself.
Yeah, because I have noise.
You have to collaborate, and they have to collaborate with, you know, children that are not necessarily their friends.
Correct.
They're in classes of 30. And I have to say to them, okay, you're not going home with her to spend the weekend. You're going to work for 20 minutes together on this activity. But it's something you have to say, because, you know, they don't want to be with Vanessa. They want to be with Charlene. And that is part of teaching them that as a skill that they will take into the work world, you know, that the skill of actually getting on with others. You don't just get on with those who you feel comfortable with, or who you like, or who you knew 2 years ago.
And also the simple skills of asking questions. Where is the cafeteria? Or understanding in your class that there's strengths and weaknesses amongst your peers, and then you feeling that out and understanding, well, I have this weakness, so I need to be paired with someone that has a strength that I don't have. And you start figuring that out, which you quickly realize as you go through university, that comes into play. But I feel like our high school students are learning that even quicker, because they're understanding that you don't have to be you don't have to work hard, you work smart.
Right.
Yeah. So I think all angles are great. The transition between all parts, even preschool, that's the beginning stage, that's when it first starts. You know, it's all about the same language and the same communication, and keeping the conversation open with our children. I keep calling everybody students, our children. Well, thank you guys so very much. If we don't have any more questions, I want everybody to be able to go off and enjoy their Friday. It has been amazing with you all. Thank you very much, Sam. Thank you so much for your insight into kindergarten. Reach Academy is very lucky to have you on our team. And thank you very much, Auntie Nicky, for the insight for today and the transitional skills that you have prepared our students with and now our parents. And of course, Madame, you are fabulous as usual. Thank you so much. And this was excellent. Thank you so much, everybody. And everybody enjoy your weekend.
Okay. Bye. Thanks for having me. Okay.
See you later, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.